Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back, everybody. I've learned so much, even the one time we've talked so far with this woman. She has a company that is responsible for staging. So let's say you're selling your house. You stage your house. They put all the furnishings in, kind of elevate things. You get a better price for it because it just looks very attractive. Just one element of what she does. Of course, she has a furniture store and does this. I mean, the staging thing in her life, way bigger than I ever thought, because it also trickles down to event staging. Never even thought about that. We're going to talk about that today. What can you do for a corporate event? How can you stage a wedding to just elevate it, make it so much better? Marty Wilkinson joins us once again on the program. How are you doing?
I'm great, Steve. How are you?
Really good, really good. StageYourLife.net is your website. And
That's right.
let's go over there to different events that we can stage. Pick one and why we would want to stage it.
Well, right now, the big thing is weddings, and we have been doing quite a number of weddings. We have a couple of venues here in Santa Fe, one being Bishop's Lodge, which is a very lovely high-end resort where they host a lot of weddings. And a lot of these bride and grooms now want to have sort of a special lounge kind of setup for their receptions, whether it be cocktail hour, or during the reception, after reception dance party type things. So we're kind of creating these kind of pseudo sophisticated lounge setups for the weddings, for people to, kind of sit around and enjoy while, they're having their reception.
So give an example, let's say, or maybe a recent wedding and what you might have done in terms of staging.
Well, a lot of times they have tents over this grassy lawn area, or sometimes it's outside. A lot of times it's outside. And we did one recently where they were having, kind of a pre-wedding dinner, I guess the rehearsal dinner. And we set it up. It was out like by the barns, which was really kind of fun. So it was very rustic. And we put like Santa Fe style rugs down on the ground. And we had these really cool one-of-a-kind pillows that we use that are very Santa Fe looking, Navajo blankets, things like that. We use these cool like poof things that people sit on and kind of move around if they want to join other groups. And we typically do probably 3 or 4 like setups, and each of them holds maybe 10 or 12 people. So people are kind of like sitting around enjoying their drinks and their cocktails and their hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that. But it's more of a living room setting instead of sitting at a table, like you normally would at a wedding, dinner type of thing.
Somebody told me about one of those weddings where it's a more casual approach. It was outside. You do have to, you run the risk of the weather. So you have to make plans accordingly for that.
We've had that issue.
But just it totally breaks the mold of, formal walking in, and just if that fits you as a couple. What about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just saying too, that a lot of times we're mostly dealing with the coordinators, it's funny because sometimes I never even get to meet the bride and groom, which is kind of crazy. I just deal with the wedding coordinator, but they always have this color palette and, the florals that they're going to be using that they send me. And then I kind of drive my design based on their color palette and all of that. So it really kind of blends in with the whole look of the wedding, which people really love, actually. We do that with pillows and the poofs, like I mentioned. So
what about, let's say it's indoors, it's at a venue, catering facility. Would you stage that? Would you do something different with that?
Oh, absolutely. We do a lot of indoor corporate, the corporate events and the weddings. A lot of times they'll have dance floors and things like that inside, like a big ballroom. We had a request to have one that looked like very 70s disco looking.
Oh,
So, we did like white leather and, silver and gold pillows. And it was very kind of, Studio 54 looking, if you will. Um, so, and a lot of the corporate events are inside, and those get large. Like I had a request once, and I had to like buy a bunch of furniture for it because the request came through and they needed like 80 sofas and 95 chairs and 50 coffee tables, and it was a lot. And we have a lot of inventory to stage, but they also wanted it to have a certain look and feel, so I had to kind of order specifically for that. But now I have the inventory to use for future, corporate events like that too. So
it's mind blowing for me to consider how much inventory you have. And let's say you get a special request. Somebody says, I want to do a 70s wedding and in leather, just hypothetical. Would you go and get those items, and now that becomes part of your stock for future, possibly? Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, we have so much now that I generally have something that would, work in that genre.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just, we add to that, to finish it, or, if we needed, more leather sofas or something like that. So yeah. But I mean, we always reuse it. It's amazing. Once I buy something, we're putting it back out and reusing it, often. So,
part of all of this is you must have so many ideas. Somebody comes to you and say, I'm not really sure. I want to do something special with my wedding. I don't want to do the same old, same old. But what can I do? It must be endless.
Yeah.
You start putting it together.
And a lot of times I'll tour the bride and groom. They'll come in for a meeting and we'll talk about their look and what they want. And then I'll tour them through the warehouse. And they'll actually like look at things and say, oh, I really like that, or I really like that. So we'll kind of hold those things aside for them for the wedding. We also do these really cool, they're called flame waves, and they're kind of like candlelight. They're not flame, they're like remote controlled, battery operated, candle looking things, but we put them in these baskets or these containers and we place them around the lounge setups that we do. And it really creates a really cool vibe. Everybody loves that because as it gets darker, that creates this ambiance of, flickering light, and they love that. So
maybe it's me, but the flickering light seems to be having a moment. Like even outside, you drive past people's houses, you see the flickering light almost so it looks like a candle or a torch.
Right.
Right.
It's amazing what they make now. I have a supplier that I get these things from, and it's amazing what they do now with like candle looking type things.
Yeah, so, I like it. I'm thinking about getting it for my outdoor lights.
Yeah, or even inside in your house. I mean, you could put them in fireplaces and stuff like that.
Sure.
If you didn't want to burn a fire, they work. Christmas decorations. It's all great.
Let's go to corporate events. What are some of the things that we can do in terms of elevating what you normally would do, or maybe different themes that you've worked on?
Well, again, I mean, those tend to be a lot larger because they have like a group of people that come in. Sometimes they take over a whole hotel for an event, and then they have, various meetings that they're holding. So we're setting up, the entire ballroom, like they're having a speaker, let's say, and instead of just chairs, from, standard sitting chairs, they want sofas and lounges and things like that, so people can feel really comfortable when they're sitting there and listening to the person speak. We staged an entire lawn, this big lawn area that's at that Bishop's Lodge house place, and they wanted like probably 10 groups of lounge setups so that people could kind of break out into smaller groups and discuss whatever they're discussing, and so we staged all that for a big corporate event. That was really cool. We made that. They wanted it kind of a specific look. They wanted that Southwest element. So those one of a kind pillows always create a great ambiance. So yeah.
Hmm. What's the weirdest request you've gotten? I don't want to say weird, most unusual or
Yeah.
surprising or just different.
Well, we had this really cool, I call it a pod, but it was this outdoor like seating thing that you could sit inside, and it looks like an onion, like it was kind of yeah, it had a point at the top and then it came down and around, and then it had a big like cushion in it and pillows and stuff like that. And this one bride and groom wanted to have that in, like outside of this lounge area for them to kind of go to for some private time, just to talk and to kind of be by themselves. And that was like a really cool element that we've used in the past, but now I've sold it, so
Yeah.
don't have it anymore.
Do you ever, you have a warehouse, like tons of stuff. Do you ever walk through personally and say, yeah, I'm going to grab that and bring it on home, or I'm going to borrow that, or however you want to phrase it. Have you been tempted that way?
I do that all the time. But I have a very interesting living situation because I actually live in one of my staged homes
Oh, wow.
while it's being marketed for sale. So I actually don't own a home. I'm like the most successful homeless person you'll ever meet. So
Wow.
I yeah,
Okay, so
so I
you put it up for sale. It's staged, right? And
right, and it's not my home. It's somebody else's. Somebody
oh,
else owns the home, but we stage it, and then I move in, and I live there while it's being marketed for sale. I give the owner a little bit of a break on the pricing because I'm, using their house lightly, and I don't pay rent or utilities or anything like that. They basically pay me to live in their home
wow.
while it's being marketed, and then I move when it sells. I pick up all my stuff and I move to another house. So I get to see lots of different houses. I get to live in lots of different houses. I get a different style every time. Whether I get to live in $8 million houses sometimes. It's really nice.
Wow. Wow. So
Yeah.
how do you know where you're going to go? Let's say somebody put an offer on the house that you live in,
Yeah.
and how do you know where you're going next?
I don't. It all
Probably
depends.
part of the fun, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, it can be nerve-wracking. I mean, some people wouldn't be able to handle it.
Sure.
You're kind of up in the air. But if the house that I'm living in goes under contract, I'm calling all my realtors in town and letting them know that I need another home tend. And lo and behold, somebody finds me something. There's a lot of times where I know so many realtors in town. If I call them, they're like, oh, well, we have a house that we're going to get ready to list in a couple of weeks, and, that I wouldn't have known about. That could be a contender. So I've never not had a house to go to. Like I've never
Interesting.
had a stay in a hotel.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know a couple that does that. The wife works for an attorney, and I guess he flips houses or something. The husband is a musician, but he's also handy. And when he's not doing gigs, he's doing some remodels within the house. Same kind of situation like yours. They live in the house until it gets sold. And then I have another friend who literally just sold his house. He does digital work. We actually work together. Just sold his house, pocketed the cash, and is homeless. He calls himself a digital nomad, and
Yeah.
he just goes wherever. Airbnb. He doesn't know where he's going next.
Right.
He sold that house in August in Florida, came up here, hung for a little while, here being New York, then went to Egypt with a bunch of friends for like 3+ weeks. Then he came back to Florida and he's in Airbnb for a month. I'm like, dude, what are you doing next? It's like, I'm thinking about maybe Dominican Republic. I could probably live there
Yeah.
for $1,500 for on the water for a
Right.
month. And it's cheaper than living in his home because he doesn't have the home expenses like the lawn, the utilities, fix it, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
all that. Yeah.
Totally. No,
It's
I mean, I'll probably do this for the rest of my life.
Wow.
I would imagine. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
It is a lot less expensive.
right. And not for everyone. Some of us,
No.
you want to put the roots down. You want to have, know what's coming tomorrow. But long
Yeah.
story short, of my journey, I'm more flexible with ideas like this in the last like 4 years. And
Yeah.
just where am I going to be next? I really don't know. It's kind of exciting because
Hmm.
it's an open world. You could, worst case scenario, you Airbnb until a home
Right.
available. Right.
Or I've got lots of friends with guest houses and casitas and things like that. I mean,
Sure.
yeah, or I've got lots of friends too that don't live here full time and their house is sitting there empty for 6 months,
Right.
so
Right.
I'm sure I'll have a roof over my head.
Yeah. And you know what? You're doing them a favor because it's occupied, less chance of any kind of crime or anything going on there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Fun.
You're very interesting to talk to. You really are.
It's fun. Yeah. It's a nice
Yeah.
way of living.
So where are you right now? Got to ask.
I'm in a great house. It's for sale up. It's on this road called Old Pecos Trail, which is a very popular road here. And it was a fully renovated home. Big. It's got a huge downstairs. It's got a casita. I think it's got 5 bedrooms. And I'm in there all by myself. But yeah, it's a $2.5 million house right now
Beautiful.
for sale. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's lovely.
And how long have you been in that house?
I moved in, what are we in, November? I think I moved in August.
Okay.
So I've been there since August.
Wow.
So, and it's funny, like after about 6 months, I get kind of bored in a house. I'm like totally ready to move, if it's been 6 months. I mean, I've been in a house, average is probably 4 to 6 months in general. It depends on the market, of course. Things slow down in the winter here. So,
Yeah.
and I've been in a house for like 4 years one time. It took that long to sell. So,
Well, you want to get the right price for it as the owner of the home. So, if you don't have to rush, then why rush?
right,
Amazing.
right.
Tell me
Right.
about you have a furniture store. Tell me about that.
Well, yes, it's in front of our warehouse and it's about 3,500 square feet. I'm sitting in it right now. This is one of the rooms. We have 3 or 4 rooms. We have a main showroom and then we have some auxiliary rooms behind that. And we sell new furniture. We actually take consignment. So a lot of times I started taking consignment because of the fact that I would stage houses and people would leave furniture there. And then when the house sells, they asked us if we could take it. And so I had like 3 houses at once that asked me to do that. And so I just decided, listen, why don't I just open up a consignment store? So part of the element of our showroom is consignment. And so we have really good, priced things. It's gently used furniture. And but then we also have furniture that we sell to our clients for design work and things like that. And then we have, like little, gift items. We have kitchen kind of items, dishware and things like that, fun accessories, lots of pillows, of course. You can never have enough pillows. So, yeah.
When you were younger, as a little girl, did you like playing house? Was that kind of thing attractive to you?
It's funny you ask that because I think part of the reason, like I used to love to go to furniture stores with my mother. Like if she were to go shopping for something, I would be like, can I go? Can I go? And I was an only child and we had a 4-bedroom house. And so my parents were in 1 bedroom always. And I got the run of the other 3 bedrooms and I would constantly move into the different bedrooms.
Oh my gosh.
For a period of time. And I would rearrange the furniture and I would put things on angles and I would constantly be rearranging things. So yeah, I think it was in my blood from a very early age. So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
really, when you look at and on the flip side of that, I walked around at the same age with a radio stuck to my ear.
Yep.
And I would just, I'd the biggest challenge in my life is when I needed batteries. And that was then, and I'm still doing the same exact thing now. So kind of interesting that you kind of know when you're a kid, some of us.
Somehow, yeah. I also had a little dollhouse, it was actually an antique. It was my grandmother's, one of those doll houses that had rooms that with, furniture and stuff like that. And I played with that thing for hours, and, my Barbie houses.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely was into furniture and decoration and things like that. I almost got into fashion design too, because I loved fashion, but I just ended up going the interior route. So, but I love clothes too.
Amazing. Yeah. I'm fascinated by you and what you do and all the different aspects of what's going on there. Again, my mind exploded when you said last time how many houses you're staging at once. I think the number was at the moment, or then 55 houses.
Yeah, 57 was the number. So, yeah.
I can't even imagine just keeping track of all the items, the inventory, all of that.
It's not easy. We're still working on inventory. I mean, we have a good system down now. When we receive things get put right into the computer right away.
Okay.
But things that I've had for years and things like that are out, it's challenging to try to inventory everything. I kind of need somebody to just do that full time.
Yeah. I mean, we think about it, even in our own homes, where did that blank go? And then in your situation, where's the disco ball? Somebody has a wedding coming up. Where'd it go? I know it's here somewhere. And then,
I know.
And then you gotta find it.
It keeps me up some nights. I'm like, where is that chair? There's a specific chair that we need for something. And I'm racking my brain, of all the houses that we have staged, where is the chair?
Right. It's almost as if you got to trace back your steps where's it? Where did that? Maybe it's on a truck though. Maybe it's behind another chair.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Or on the top shelf of my warehouse.
Yeah.
We haven't seen in a while.
If somebody, now you do this, obviously this work is done in what area of New Mexico?
We're in Santa Fe.
Okay.
But we work most of northern New Mexico. I mean, we've staged houses in Taos and Albuquerque and as far as the Las Vegas, Mora area. We did some great ranches out there. They have a lot of, in fact, we did Gene Hackman's ranch when it was for sale.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, way back when. That was interesting. So
amazing. Somebody's looking to make some changes, sell a house, whatever it may be, even details on the furniture store in the Santa Fe area. Your website again, what is it?
It's stageyourlife.net.
Wonderful talking with you. I am waiting for the show on TLC or Bravo, because you're a reality show sitting right there ready to go.
I know. I would love to start one.
It really is. What a unique, go to every single house, along the way. What do we have here? What do we have here?
The challenges and the tribulations of stage.
And what we don't know goes on, even in staging. And I didn't even think about, you could stage a wedding or a corporate event. I'm thinking houses. Amazing. Mm-hmm. Marty, thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah,
thanks.
We're coming right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips that you plan in advance, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends for which you make a group chat 3 months before so that nobody or anything is missing? Or your daughter's first birthday party. You planned it with such dedication that instead of the first, it felt like our 15s. The same way you plan each detail for those moments. Start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit. And make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.